Pastor Youngie Cho, World Mission Today.
The Holy Spirit is here, of course, together with Jesus Christ. And by this kind of reason, we must expect to see miracle happens in our body, spirit, in our lives. If you came here with sickness and disease in your body, you are bound to be healed because we come to Jesus Christ. If you don't have peace and joy and happiness in your heart, the Spirit of the Lord is going to come into your heart and give you the rivers of living water. So let us open our heart wide and expect something miracle maybe happen to each and every one of us. Tonight, I want to share the Word of God in the Bible. A certain woman was suffering for 12 years by the blood issuing disease. She spent all of her possession. She tried every kind of doctors and medicine. She was not healed. And she could not stay together with her family because she was having filthy sickness. Religiously, she could not stay together with the family. She was separated from family and sent to the outside of the town, lived a very lonely life, only waiting to die. Every day she was in terrible despair in her heart. There was no hope. And she was having a vision of in her heart of dying and being buried and separated from her family. She was desperate. She was full of fear. But nobody could help her. And she was slowly dying. Who could help in that situation? Doctors couldn't help. No other medicine could help her. Then suddenly something wonderful thing happened in her life. Someone came to her and told her about Jesus Christ. She heard that Jesus Christ was the Son of God and he came to Israel and he was healing the sick, cast out devil, raised the dead. And someone told her that Jesus Christ could heal her blood issuing disease and make her life whole. And after hearing the word of Jesus Christ, Bible says faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word of God. By hearing that word, the faith was planted in her heart. And she began to have hope in her heart. She began to become positive in her life attitude. She was thinking negatively up until that time, every moment. But suddenly, after hearing the word of Jesus Christ, she became positive in her heart. I may be healed. I may become strong and join with my family in our home life. She was positive. And she was beginning to having a clear visions and dream in her heart. She was seeing herself completely healed, restored back to her home, and live a normal life with her husband and children. She was seeing her visions and dream day in, day out. And she said to herself, I believe in miracle. God will come and he will do the same miracle to me as he is doing the miracle to others. And she believed the miracle. Then she kept saying to herself, if only I could touch the garment of Jesus Christ, I shall be healed. If I only touch Jesus, the healing would come to me. So she had hope instead of the despair, and she had visions and dreams about being healed. And she believed in the miracle. And she confessed the miracle constantly in her mouth. And one day, big crowd was coming and passing by her small hut. And when she walked out and watched the situation, Christ Jesus was leading the crowd through her town. So she shoved the people away and she ran to Jesus Christ. And she reached out and touched the garment. Instantly, the power of the healing came to her and she was healed. She was freed from the suffering of 12 long years. Then Jesus stopped walking and turned around and said, someone touched me. The disciples said, Jesus, so many people are thronging at you. You say that someone touched me. But Jesus was looking for that woman who touched him. She knew that healing power came from Jesus Christ. She knelt down before Jesus Christ and she told him that she was healed. And Jesus says, by your faith, you are healed. Go in peace. And she was completely restored by meeting Jesus Christ. And when you read this story, you may say that, well, that happened 2,000 years ago. But that story is being repeated constantly even nowadays when we know Jesus and when we know the power of the Holy Spirit. During the Old Testament time, God the Father worked in the front and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit worked behind God the Father. In New Testament time, God's Son Jesus Christ came and this was time of Son's work. Heavenly Father and the Holy Spirit worked behind Jesus Christ. After his death and resurrection, the Holy Spirit came and this is the age of the Holy Spirit. Now Holy Spirit is working in front through the church, through the Christians. And God the Father, Son Jesus Christ is working in the Holy Spirit. So, since we are living in the generation of the Holy Spirit is here among us. The Holy Spirit is doing exactly the same miracles that Jesus Christ has done. Because the Holy Spirit is here to reveal Jesus Christ. The Holy Spirit has never coming here to reveal any others, but the work of Jesus Christ. In Oriental religion, to gain the salvation, we should suffer and train ourselves miserably. But still yet, we don't know if we could be saved and be given the eternal life. But Christianity, it is not so. Despite of the evil life, sinful life, life of trespasses, God put all of those things on the shoulder of Jesus Christ and give free of charge the righteousness, sanctification, the salvation. And when you receive the life of Jesus Christ free of charge, then the Holy Spirit comes and the Holy Spirit begins to change you. Many people try to change themselves by their own power, but it is impossible to change themselves. Only the power of the Holy Spirit can come and possess us and change our lives. When I was 17 years old, just in the middle of the Korean War, we were living in very, very difficult situation. And my family also came as a refugee from our town to the last seaport of Busan. Then one day, while I was working, I began to cough up blood, and the blood gushed out of my mouth. And I could hardly breathe. And people carried me to the hospital. And doctors took X-ray picture on my chest and told me that I would at most live about 6 more months because my middle part of the lung was decayed away. My left was punctured like a honeycomb. And doctor shook head and they said there was no way to operate my lung. And at those days, they had no facility to do that. And of course, I was not having that much money, and I was left to die. And we were very devout Buddhist. My father was very devout Buddhist. So we were chanting to Buddha, asking him to heal me, but my sickness became bad to worse. I could not lie down because when I lie down, I could not breathe. I lean upon the wall and I forced myself to breathe. And those suffering were enormous, unbearable. Then one day, my sister's friend, who was a fervent Christian, came to my house while my parents and all the family members went out to work. And she brought Bible and she says, when you trust in Jesus Christ, maybe Christ could give you health. Because when you read the Bible, Jesus Christ healed so many people. She says, he may heal you if he will so. But I said, don't come to me and tell me about Jesus. She said, Jesus Christ is alive. So I said, where is she? She says, I don't know. But when you read the Bible, you may find him alive. So when I opened the Genesis, she says, don't start from Genesis, start from Matthew, because you will not last long enough to finish. So actually, without expecting to find any deep things, I opened Matthew. Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, Jacob begot Judas. I said, I can't read this Bible because I'm a dying person and I am reading all begetting story. This makes me miserable. But she said, when you eat fish, you find a lot of the bone. You don't complain, do you? You sort out the bone and eat the flesh. Bible has a lot of bones. So you just sort out bone and eat the flesh. So I began to read Bible sincerely, and I was so amazed. The Bible was not religious teaching book. Bible was a medical book. Because Jesus Christ was healing, casting out devil, and raising the dead. 2/3 part of his ministry was divine healing. Christ was healing more people than physician. Every kind of sickness was healed. Every kind of people were helped. And I was really tremendously moved in my heart. I said, look at this. He is not a religious leader. He was physician. He heals every sick people. He may heal me if I was really sick after healing. So I read Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and I was so moved by his healing ministry. I was most concerned about reading the healing story because I was in need of healing. Then I really received some faith. Maybe I meet Jesus and he will heal me. I was like that blood issuing woman. I was despaired and desperate in my thinking, but I began to be positive. Maybe I could be healed. I began to have some hope in my thinking life. As I read the Bible more I have received faith. Then by and by, one day I began to have visions in my heart that I would be healed and I would be healthy, become young people. Then I would live together with family with a healthy physical body. And day in, day out, I was seeing myself being healed, Jesus Christ. And I believed miracle. I myself, in my heart, I said, this Christ is God, and He performed a miracle in the Bible. He may perform the miracle to me too. Then one evening, I was fast asleep, and someone came into my room. So I thought that my father came to my room to see if I was still alive. And then someone came to me and shook me, so I woke up. I opened my eyes, and he was seeing on the cloud, wearing a white robe. He had a beard. He was different from my father, so I said, Father, why do you wear a long robe and wear this kind of the clothes? But he said, I'm not your father. So I said, who are you? So I'm Jesus whom you read in the Bible. I said, no, you can't deceive me. Jesus Christ can't be alive like this. Jesus said, I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. As you put your faith in me, I not only save you, but I will heal you. And I will bless you, and you will become my servant, and you will go to the end of the world and preach this gospel. So I said, Jesus, I will do that if you touch me and heal me. And Jesus said, you shall be healed. Then he disappeared. And I wondered if I dreamed or if I saw really. But I began to have tremendous joy and peace in my heart. And I dreamed in my heart that I was completely healed. So I was singing and dancing all alone in my room. Now when I see these Pentecostal Christians, they dance and clap hands and rejoice. That was motivated by the power of the Holy Spirit, because I was not taught by the Pentecostal Christian. Then my family was all frightened, and they came together to my place. And they said that those ones who are before die, they become confused in their mind, and they will say these kind of things and dance and shout. But I said, no, I'm going to live. I met Jesus. Now he's far away in his imagination. And they cried, and my mother comforted me. But from that day, I began to breathe very easily. And I was brought to the hospital, and doctor checked over me. And doctor said, where have you been? So I haven't been to any place except Bible. He said, have you really read Bible? Yes, I read the Bible. Do you believe the story in the Bible? I said, believe or not, I am healed here right now. But he said, well, there are no explanation medically, but you are healed. This year, I'm 78 years old. At that time, I was 17 years old. After that time, all this while, I've never suffered from tuberculosis anymore. God touched me and healed me completely. And logically speaking, church is the body of Jesus Christ. Body of Jesus Christ should give freedom and liberty to the people. If Jesus Christ is living God, then something miracle should happen. If nothing happens, that is dead Jesus, not a living Jesus. And my reason is very simple. Jesus Christ is alive, and when he went to heaven, he sent down the Holy Spirit and constituted his body on earth, the church. So I think tonight, most of you are Christians and churchgoers. Then you are the body of Jesus Christ. Jesus is present within us through you. Then it's very natural that we receive divine healing from Jesus Christ. By his stripes you were healed. Really healed. And when you claim it, that's yours. Many people do not claim because they don't believe. But you would say that, oh, I have faith, but my faith is very small. But Jesus says, if your faith is as small as mustard seed, still that mustard seed faith will remove mountain from this place to yonder sea. Let's say that you have faith is 100% faith. You may have 99% doubt, and you have only 1% faith. Still, that is enough for you to see the miracle. You don't need 99% of the faith. Whenever I pray for difficult things, devil comes to me and says, you do not have strong faith. But I said, I don't need strong faith. Why should I carry strong faith? But you don't believe. No, 99% doubt, but 1% faith I have. And Jesus Christ said, you have 1% faith, that is enough to remove mountain. So you all have more than 1% of faith. I don't know. No, I know. Because since you have more than 1% of faith, you come to this conference tonight. So when you exercise that faith, you will go home healed, blessed, filled with the Holy Spirit. God asks you to come out of your tent. Don't you have tent? Your body is tent. You've been under your tent and prayed to God so long. Under your tent, what do you see? You see your circumstances, impossible circumstances. Your work, your burden, and all of difficult things you see, you hear, you feel, you touch all the difficult circumstances, and you become suppressed, and you, while praying, oh God, bless my life and job and heal my sickness. But still you say, no, no, no. When I see, physically speaking, it's impossible. But God says, come out of your tent, your physical body, and look to the star. Where? In the Bible, find the star, the promise of God. Come out of your tent and read the Bible and find the star and pray, seeing the star. Then you can believe miracles and you can receive answers very easily. So I ask all of our people to look to the star by reading the Bible and believe in miracle and pray, and God will perform miracles. One of the great miracles happened a few years ago. One of our wonderful cell leader, one 40 or 50 years old lady, because I don't know her age exactly because I could not ask her age. But she was suddenly fell down while she was visiting the home and found out that she was a brain tumor. And the doctor said that she is very serious and she should be operated very soon. So I visited her hospital, and she says, Pastor, why would God inflict this sickness on me? Because I've been doing God's work and I've been very faithful to God. So I said, I have no answer to those kind of things. I have only one answer. God wants you to be healed. More than that, I don't know why you have this sickness and disease. Those things shall be answered later after being healed. So, you please do as I ask you to do. Say, by His stripes ye were healed, more than 10,000 times loudly, in front of the doctors and nurses. They would try to stop you, but you act like a crazy woman. You say that by His stripes you were healed, and count all of your prayer 10,000 times. Then submit yourself to be healed, to be operated. So really, she began to pray, by His stripes you were healed, in a loud voice, and writing down the numbers of the prayer on the wall. And doctors were all harassed by her terribly, tried to stop her, and she would not stop. And then the time for her to be operated, doctors wheeled her to the operating table, and when they opened the brain, there was no tumor at all. All disappeared. So, Bible, when you accept as the living Word of God, is alive today. And Bible is miracle Bible.